So, hello there everyone and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for me to bring you another one of these listicle video type things. Today, I'm going to be bringing you 9 hidden things in FIFA 19 career mode. Plenty has been talked about this game mode already, but there's some stuff that isn't really common knowledge, and today I'm going to be bringing you a list of those things. If you go on to enjoy the video, slap a like on it and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It's the big red button under the video and it massively helps me out, and if you enjoy it that much, let me know. I'll try and make a second one of these as well, get my scouting binoculars out, whatever, and try and make a second one of hidden stuff in FIFA 19 career mode. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is that Alex Hunter and Danny Williams are available in FIFA 19 career mode. You can unlock them basically by completing the journey. Not gonna lie, not played any of the journey so far this year, so I have no idea what it entails. I know it's to do with the Champions League, so the reality is it's to do with them winning the Champions League. Brilliant, phenomenal for them, but you can actually use them for your own Champions League campaigns in career mode as well, and all you have to do literally to unlock them is actually complete the journey, and they'll be available to sign. Whether they're at your club when you start a career mode save, I don't know, or whether they're just randomly assigned to a team, or maybe they play for Real Madrid and Manchester United like they do in the journey. I'm not entirely sure whether you can actually just pick them for your teams and to start off with, but regardless of that, Alex Hunter has a potential to grow to 93 in career mode, and Danny Williams can grow to 92, so if you do decide to unlock them, they are definitely decent assets to have in your career mode save. So I definitely try and recommend that if you can get through the journey, although a lot of people are kind of complaining about the fact that it's not very good, so if you do manage to get through it, then props to you. The reward of Danny Williams and also Alex Hunter is there for you if you manage to do so. Number 2 is that in the news section, there's now an awards for the best players in each position, I suppose, across the course of a season. And it's always like a ones to watch, which I quite like, to be honest with you. You basically get one for each position, as I mentioned, so there'll be like a goalkeepers to watch out for, defenders, best defenders in the world, etc., or best midfielders in the world at that point, and it continues every single season until your career mode save finishes. So if it gets really towards the end of a career mode save and you're struggling to actually find real players who are going to grow to a decent potential or aren't, in their 30s or whatever, this is actually a really solid tool. You can go on the news section, hold in the R stick, I believe, and you can actually get these players up, and they'd probably be regens by this point. So if you're struggling for real players to sign, just go on this for the world-class talent. You can try and sign these regens when it gets to that sort of area, or that sort of era of your career mode saves. But at first, it's just a nice little gimmick, I guess, but something that not many people have noticed. Now, this is one of my personal favourite ones because it means I can be nosy when it comes towards the end or the dying embers of a career mode save, or even just a couple of seasons in. If you go on to import team sheets, you can actually see the squads of any other team in the entirety of the game at that point in your career mode saves. So if you don't know where the import team sheet section is, if you go over to the squad tab and then go over literally to team sheets, or go into squad and then team sheets, you can press on import team sheets, and then you can literally scroll through all the teams in your league and literally all the teams in the entirety of the career mode save. So it's a really good way of seeing what's going down in a career mode save after like 3 seasons or whatever, and you can use it for its original purpose, which is to literally import a team sheet and copy someone else's formation, but it's quite good for being nosy, to be honest with you. If you want to see what Everton's squad is looking like before you play them, you can go on to this and you can see the usual starting 11 that they play. And if you do videos like, going to 2030 or whatever in career mode, that's a very good and useful thing to have as well. It's how I do it personally. I get quite a lot of comments on those videos saying, how do you look at the teams in detail like that? This is how you do it. Go on to import team sheets. You can see literally any team you want in the career mode save, including national teams as well. The fourth one is quite a good thing for fans of teams in Asia. The Asian Continental Cup, I believe it's called, or the Asian Champions League, has been added to the game this year. It wasn't really marketed or broadcasted or just generally speaking told to the general public, but it is in the games. This obviously incorporates the Asian leagues, so the Japanese J League, the Korean K League, the Australian A-League, obviously, and also the newly added Chinese Super League. Might have the Saudi Arabian League in it as well, but I doubt it. I don't think they compete in it in real life, so I can't imagine they would be in it on the game as well. But it's basically the equivalent of the Champions League for the continent of Asia, and it's quite nice to see they've added that to the game. Obviously, with the Chinese Super League newly added, they've probably got enough teams to actually occupy that tournament now, whereas they probably didn't before. There's not many teams in the J-League or the K-League or the Australian A-League either, so they've probably now got enough teams to actually put into that competition, which is why they've added it. I don't think it is fully licensed, but it's still a nice tournament to have. I think it's the equivalent, basically, of what the Champions Cup used to be for Europe, but it's nice to see that they've added that, and that they're taking notice of other continents in football, not just Europe this year. A nice handy way of seeing how many players are in each position in your squad now, on the squad hub it will literally tell you how many goalkeepers, how many defenders, and how many midfielders and attackers you have in your side, and a nice little square in the top left of the screen where your manager rating would be on the normal main menu. And yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. It can show you how many goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and attackers you've got, so you can see where you're maybe lacking in a certain position, or maybe you've got an overabundance of certain players. If you've got 6 goalkeepers and you didn't realise it yet, you can probably take a look at this little screen or this little tab, and it'll show you where maybe you can offload some players, or generally speaking, where you might need to strengthen a little bit as well. Nice little feature. Usually you could get it on the transfers tab back in the day, but since they've obviously changed transfers and they've added the new transfer hub, they took that away. Now they've re-added it back in, but it's on the squad hub instead. Number 5 is useful for cup competitions. You now get a 4th substitute to reflect real life when a game goes to extra time in both the Champions League and also in cup competition as well. Basically any competition that requires extra time at any point during your career mode saves, you can now make a 4th substitute. I think it was added to real life rules and regulations of football for the course of this year, maybe last year, can't quite remember, but certainly it is in course, or in action, sorry, for this season, so it's now in action as far as FIFA is concerned as well. If the game goes to extra time, don't think you're limited to your 3 substitutes. You can make that extra substitute as well if stamina and fatigue are a real issue at that point in the game. Now this is a kind of hidden one for me. I didn't realise this was a thing until very recently, but for those complaining that the Champions League and Europa League draws aren't fully seeded, you can actually change it manually before you start a career mode save. If you go over to where it says Champions League and Europa League enabled for the first season and just literally click A or X for PlayStation users on it, it will actually come up with a draw that you can fully edit, like on the World Cup add-on for FIFA 18. It's a very similar layout to that, or obviously in the same fashion that you could for the Champions League and Europa League before they were licensed on FIFA 18 as well, and you can make it a bit more seeded, so you've not got random Polish teams or random Portuguese teams or random Dutch teams, which I think was a major issue if you just let it happen automatically. You can do it a lot better now and have teams like Ajax and PSV and Benfica and Porto, etc. in it, rather than just random teams from those countries who are more mid-table or even relegation candidates. So the penultimate one here is that when you're in cup competitions, your numbers and fonts on your shirts change accordingly. I'd already talked about in previous videos how if you get promoted or relegated, the fonts and badges on your sleeves and stuff change dependent on what your league you're in. If you get relegated from the Bundesliga, you get Bundesliga 2 on your sleeve. If you get relegated from the Premier League, you get the EFL branding instead of the Premier League branding. Well, it also applies for cup competitions as well. So when you're in the Carabao Cup, your number will change on the back of your shirt if you're Manchester United or Arsenal or whatever, and it also applies to the FA Cup as well. It's a nice little touch, and it also sees the logos for those respective competitions on your sleeves as well, like is the case in the Champions League and in the Europa League as well. And then finally, something that's useful for you guys enjoying your Youth Academy career modes, you can now sell and loan players immediately once promoting them to the senior side. Beforehand, they would be recently joined players and you couldn't offload them for a whole season or a whole calendar year. Now you can literally loan them out or sell them straight away. It's a good moneymaker as well. If you know you've got players who aren't going to make it at your club, you can promote them and sell them for 100k or 200k or whatever, rather than just releasing them from the Youth Academy and not actually gaining any money on them. So there you have it. That's 9 hidden things in FIFA 19 career mode that I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know down in the comments section other stuff that I didn't mention that not many people know about, and I can try and make a second one of these if you guys really want that. If you enjoyed this video though, slap a like on it, and of course subscribe if you are new to the channel. It's the big red button under the video and it really helps me out. You can also follow me on social media these days too. My Twitter handle is @theofficialfng and my Insta is the same. Links are down below. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.
Universe, no loss. Bad girl, why you feel so nice? So wrong, but it feels so